I've done now since 2017 is I'll test the block of the month pattern, I proofread the patterns, I make the quilt, and then I spend the year helping to answer questions from anyone in STAR members who want to know questions and things that they have. And kind of they call me the shepherd of the forum and that kind of stuff. So the forum whisperer, things like that. So I'm here to answer your questions and to help you be successful with the block of the month. So the first thing I'm going to do is share my screen and take you through the Learn section where you'll find the patterns so that you have an idea of how you can easily find everything each month. When I first log into the website, it says I'm logged in, and I come over here to Learn is what I want to talk to you about first, which is where the patterns are, under Learn. And then we have a big box right now that makes it easy to click on, Homeward Bound. It also shows you the block of the month if you want to see them all. They're all listed right there, so that's an option too. Okay, so here we are on Homeward Bound. This is the wonderful quilt that was designed by Sarah Fielke. And when we come to this first page, we have her introduction and the fabric requirements, and I'm going to show you that in a minute in a coloring guide. We have information about me and the Facebook Lives, and when we get this resolved, when we get this recorded, the folks at the Quilt Show will put it here so that you can always find it again here. And then we have month 1. So that's how I know that I'm logged in, because we have the first month's pattern available. So I just want to look at the introduction and fabric requirements for you so that you can see that. When we first come to any of these screens, that you're in the videos section right now. So we have some basic information here. There is a link to my blog. A lot of people say, how do I find your blog? That right there on this introduction will show you. You can link right to it. And then there's the same with the forum, has a link to get you to the forum. First page is the videos, and this is the reveal video that Alex showed us. Then you tab over here to patterns documents in order to get the patterns and documents. So there is a coloring guide if you would like to color your own. It's simply a sketch that Sarah used in her design process. It doesn't show you how the blocks are put together. It's only for you to use as a coloring guide should you want it. Then we have the fabric requirements file, and this is especially for all of us using the kit, and there are a lot of us using the kit. You will want to keep this file handy or know how to get to it quickly. The first few pages are from Sarah's information. We have a beautiful picture of the quilt so that you can look at it, and then Sarah's information about her fabrics. She does say that she used one background fabric for the whole thing. She indicated that the background numbers would be given by the border, but that didn't happen. But I went ahead and did that, and I'll show you that when we get to the forum where that information is. There's her sketch of the whole quilt, and then this is her breakdown in the pattern of how she broke it down into 5 borders. The center is, it wouldn't necessarily be called a border, but it's the first section. The next section is half square triangle borders. Third border is the big wide one with all the birds and the pretty vines. Fourth one is the half square triangles again when we get to the outside. And then the fifth border is that final border with the outside, all the piecing. So that's her list of fabrics that she likes and her notions that she likes, and on down like this. Then we get into the fabrics. This page was updated to include the fabric that Sarah used, which was no longer available. We had to get something different, and we had a wonderful substitute created for us, and it's a beautiful fabric. It is available currently for sale by the yard through the quilt store. It is not available anywhere else. This is not being sent out to quilt shops. This is only available through us to get. So if you want yards of it, it's sold for at a 1 yard minimum. You can go to the store and get that information. So we added that piece of fabric. And the total that Sarah recommended was 5 1/4 yards. That does have some extra built in. So that's not a problem. And when I get you to the forum, I'll show you how if you wanted to use your own fabrics and break it down by borders, I can give you that information, and I already have it's on the forum. So we'll take a look at that. The other thing too, when you scroll through these, there's 17, 18 pages here. Each of these fabrics is listed, and it tells you how wide a strip you have in the kit. This was a 3-inch wide strip. That means 3 inches by width of fabric, somewhere in the 42 to 44 inch range. Every one of these measurements means that. 3 inches by width of fabric. Here's a 12-inch by width of fabric, on down. like that. When you get to the very end, the very last page, Sarah updated with her information about stems. And as I mentioned again, and I'll show you that on the forum, there was just things got forgotten when we were getting everything from her, and she did not provide, we didn't have built into the kit fabric for the stems. So, but that's been resolved, and everyone who bought the kit has received or will very soon, as of today's January 6th, the pieces have been shipped out. A half a yard of two different fabrics that are already in the kit. There's a dark green and a bright green, and I'll show you those when we get there. 2 half yards is sufficient for the whole quilt. I will mention now, and I'll mention again when we look at the quilt. In fact, let me go back and show you with the quilt. The wide border that comes in month 7, in month 7, this big wide border with all this one here takes a half a yard of fabric. So in those of you with the kit, you're getting 2 half-yard pieces. If you want all of those to be the light green, save that half yard till we get to that border. Use the dark green for the rest of the stems, and the rest of the stems you can see here are shorter ones, are pieces there. This is part of it that we'll do in month 2. The hollyhock blocks are stems. You have 2 different colors, a dark green and a bright green. There's nothing to say you can't use your own fabric. You can add something else and pick something else that you might want to do. So, but if you want to use the 2 pieces that come in the kit and you want that light green here, which very much looks like the one Sarah used, save that entire half yard till we get out there in, I want to say month 7. Okay. And then use the rest of it for these smaller pieces. Come back over here and we'll go look at month 1. All right. Click on month 1, and next month there'll be month 2, and then month 3, etc. This works the same way every single time. When you get to month 1, remember the first page you come to is the videos page. And so here on the videos for month 1, there are 2 excellent videos, an overview video by Sarah, and then her very specific, great video on how she makes the 1/4-inch bias tape. All of the bias stems in this entire quilt is 1/4-inch wide, and she uses a Hera marker to draw her lines and make those. So you'd want to watch both of those videos. You'll often want to watch the show as well. Don't forget to watch her original show that aired first on January 1st, and it's free all year, so to everyone. So if you have friends who haven't decided to join us yet, encourage them to watch it. So that's the videos. Then you click again, Patterns and Documents, and here we have the file for month 1. Click on month 1, and we have the file, and it's 6 pages long. It starts with, Sarah uses this really nifty little place. You can see in pink what it is we're going to do this month using her sketch. And then she tells you exactly what she needs, and she mentions her bias stem. She uses pre-made bias that she can get in Australia. She says it comes in like 50 colors. We can't get that here except at extremely expensive shipping costs. People from here who have tried to look to maybe buy it from her on her website found the same thing, that the shipping costs from Australia are just entirely too much. It's not too hard to make your own 1/4-inch bias. Use her videos, her video there to see how she does it, and you'll see that's the case. And then each month we'll start just the same way with the cutting of the background fabric and then the various fabrics. When you're looking at the quilt itself, the kit fabrics, it shows you each fabric, which month it's used. So when I started, all I simply did is I looked for what fabrics do I need for month 1. And then when I moved to fabric to month 2, I said, which fabrics do I need for month 2? And I could tell by looking at the pictures where they were. So that shows you all of the pictures. It tells you to cut 1 strip from background that's 6.5 inches, and then subdivide that into 4 pieces, 6.5 by 10.5. And that's for the star point pieces. And then for a second strip, 2 inches width the fabric, and then you subdivide that into each of those pieces. Then you just work your way through the list each time as you do, going down. So that's how that part works. And it will work that same way each month. All right, and then there's a link directly to the store for that beautiful background fabric that we had made if you decide you want to buy some. All right, now I'm going to show you the forum. I am sharing my screen on the forum, and so I know I've clicked on the forum, and I can always tell where I'm at. It says you are here on the forum, And so I'm just going to show you a few things here on the forum, and we'll only look right now at 2023 Homeward Bound. Okay. Click on this, and these are what we call the breadcrumbs that shows you where you are on the forum, block of the month, and then the Homeward Bound. All right, the first thing you'll see at the top are these three that are highlighted in yellow. Those are called stickies or sticky topics. I leave them there. They will stay there even when we get to multiple pages. Right now there's only 2 pages, but there will be 50 pages by the time the year is over. But these three will remain at the top so that you don't have to, as long as I think we need them. So as long as you can find them in a hurry. You know they're there somewhere and you don't have to scroll down and look for them all over. So the first one is very important information about the bias stem fabrics. As I mentioned when we looked at the stems, I indicated in here that the bias stem fabric, what had happened, why that we don't have it all. And let me go back here. It's on the bottom page. And that, but everybody who bought a kit, and there are quite a few of us that have kits, will receive, if they haven't already, although most everything has been shipped so far this week, 2 half yards of 2 different greens. One's a bright green, light bright green, and the other one is a deeper green. They are fabrics that are already included in the kit for other places, but they will be used for the stems. All of the stems in the entire quilt are 1/4 inch, and Sarah provides excellent instructions on how she uses a heirloom marker to make her 1/4 inch bias stems. Whatever way you like to make 1/4 inch bias stems is the way to do it. But her way is pretty nifty, and I'm going to do it for the rest of this quilt. Anyway, the thing that's important is that when we get to month 7 and we have the wide border that has the birds, then see, I included a picture of the 2. Those are the 2 green colors that are coming for stems. When we get to month 7, the wide border has lots of stems. It takes a half a yard. So decide which of these 2 colors you want to be your wide border and save that entire half a yard for that. Then you would use the other one for the rest of the stems that you're going to do between now and month 7. There's nothing to say you can't use your own fabric. If you have a wonderful green you want to use, or you want to use several greens, that's perfectly fine. It's just important that of these 2 pieces you're getting, that when we get to month 7, if you want them all to be the same, you will want to save that half a yard and just put it in your book and put it under month 7 and indicate to yourself not to use it till you get to that particular border. So that's how that works. And I'll back up here on a sticky. Okay, I always have a topic called month 1, ask questions here. Month 1, show your progress here. There'll be another one for month 2, another one for month 3, etc., so that it's easy to keep all of the answers and questions in one place, or questions and answers. So do take, and I ask that you don't start a new topic if you're just simply asking a question, or it's something that's already been asked, or there's a topic that's already been set up. So like here's a topic someone started on paper piecing. So if you had a question about paper piecing, put it under that topic so everything kind of stays together. What I want to show you with the show your progress here, just so that you are aware, when you come into a topic, if there are any photos in that topic, you can click on the word up here, photos, and it will simply show you the photos. So right now in this show your progress here, we don't have a lot of them yet because people are just getting going, but I'm pleased with how many I've seen. There's actually 2 pages worth of photos so far, a couple of those coming. And this one was really neat. She actually appliqued her little bar. And anyway, they're just really a great place. This one's a dark. This is Helen W. She's going to do Homeward Bound after dark. So she's using a dark background. And anyway, and if you want to see all of once you see a photo, if you want to get more information about it, simply go back into the posts and hunt down till you see those particular ones. That's Helen's talking about hers. So, and that's how it works. Any topic that has photos, not every topic does, but if you do, you'll find them. So that's a lot of information. And you can just look here and see. This is the #1 place I can provide you immediate information. If there's something that you need to know about, I put it right here. So I do encourage you to check this frequently. You can sign up for notifications to make sure that anything that's coming up, that I have notifications, I'm subscribed to them for it. You can say subscribe. And then whenever there is a notification, I get an email that something's come up, and that can be overwhelming to people too. So if you just get in the habit of looking at it when you come to the website and see what's new, that'll be terrific. One other thing I'll just mention here, I think, let me see if I can show you. Some people have had trouble where where their name or their avatar wasn't showing up. So I click on this little group picture there, and it brings me to what's called Profile Sidebar. Edit the settings. It's what it says right there. Then I've got User Settings, Account, and I go to Account, and then I see that down here under Conversation, Visible Post, I have this highlighted to show signatures and show avatars. So if your avatar, which is your photo, and or your signature, had you created a signature, doesn't show up, come in here to the account settings and see if you have that turned off, and you don't have it turned off. So it's just a thought for you to consider. Okay, so let's go out of the forum. I am here to answer your questions. No question is too silly. So please, if you have a question, somebody else probably has the same question. So do take a look there. I'm starting now just working with the document camera. I'm going to show you a few things up close. When I first started making these, the test patterns in September, I didn't have the kit. I didn't get the kit till the middle of November. So I used, I did have a jelly roll of Tula Pink fabrics, a lot of them that are included, and I bought my own background fabric. So I had this little tiny gray and white check that I really like for the background fabric. So I made the first one, thought, oh, you know, those striped fabrics would probably make a really great cabin. And in hindsight, I don't think that it does. I ended up having to cut these pieces multiple times because I didn't have the stripes running in the same direction all the way around. It was hard to tell when it said to cut a piece 3/4 of an inch by 1 inch. Did I want the vertical going this way, or did I want it going the opposite way? So I cut a lot of these pieces more than once. And when I got it all done, I thought the lines are kind of wonky. They're just not as nice and neat as I would like. I didn't particularly care for this really dark border right here. So I thought I'll just make another one. They're so small and they don't use a lot of fabric that if you're not loving the one when you get it done, which is going to be the center of your quilt, just make another one. So this was the second try, and I like this one much better. This fabric here that I made for the cabin is called Bluebell in the kit, and there's a 1/2 yard piece of it in the kit. But the picture of it appears to be in our printed one, and depending on what kind of printing you did and what your screen looks like, this one is a very violet periwinkle kind of color, but the picture that I saw on my screen looked much more blue. So it can be a little hard to tell each of the various fabrics in there based on the screen that you're looking at. So this one in particular, that Bluebell, is really more of a violet periwinkle color to me. But I like this one much better. And I still didn't think it was quite as good as I thought I could do. This little piece up here is smaller than this little piece up there. And I guess in hindsight, I'm probably being extra picky about it. I probably could have just moved right along. But I said, well, I'll make a third one. When I was getting ready to make the third one, it occurred to me that I actually could paper piece it. And so in my blog that I wrote for the first month, I did provide this picture of this pattern, but we are not going to send this to people. We're not going to put it on the website. This is not a quilt project that's intended to be paper piece. This was just me thinking that I knew that I do like to paper piece, and I knew I could do it, and these small little pieces would work. So in my blog, I tell you what size these pieces are. There are 5 sections: the chimney, the roof, the 2 cabin sections, and the door in the middle. If you are really good at paper piecing, you've done it a lot, you understand how it's done, you can easily draw these pieces, add your seam allowance all around the section. You know how that works. But if you are new to paper piecing, this is not the block to try it on. These are way too tiny a pieces for you to try to be learning the upside down and backwards and all that goes with paper piecing. So it's just out there as something that I did for the third one, my third and final one, which is now the center of my quilt. But no, we're not going to send this to anybody, and it's not going to be on the website, so don't be looking for it. People do get concerned about the pieces, and these are small little pieces. So these pieces here are the size that you cut them for this one section here. If I cut them for paper piecing, I cut them larger. There's a lot more waste in paper piecing. But instead, I've just got this going here. So let me move him to this side so we're not distracted by, man, we're still distracted by all the rest of this stuff. But these are small pieces. When you are piecing something small, don't get concerned that, oh my gosh, I could never piece this small. It's the same 1/4 inch. Whether you're making a 4-inch cabin or a 14-inch cabin, you're still using that same 1/4 of an inch. Just work each section as you go. Check as you go that you've got the sizes correct. Based on the cut sizes that are in each of the patterns, you're able to determine what size this is going to finish in the quilt. If the piece was cut 3/4 of an inch wide, it's going to finish at 1/4 of an inch because a 1/4 inch is seam allowance on either side. If it's 3/4 of an inch by 1 inch cut, and there are a couple of pieces that are that size, they are 1/4 finished by 1/2 finished. And you can check yourself as you go. Now, Sarah does have a really nifty trick. She says, what if you get this whole house done, you like your house, but it's just a little too small? And that happens from seam allowance problems. She tells you that wait and don't cut these border pieces out the width that she says, because you're told to cut them exactly the width that you would need them, which is, I think, 1.5. But she says, once you get your house done, if it's slightly smaller, it should be 4.5, including seam allowance. Cut these wider, add your border around them, and then trim the entire border, the block, including the border, to 6.5. That is brilliant. That's an easy way to fix those kind of problems, and no one is going to know that your house was slightly smaller than 4 inches. But if you cut these the exact size, you're not going to be able to make this middle 6.5, and that's going to be more of a problem. So watch her videos always. Her videos are absolutely supplemental to her instructions, and you will benefit a lot from them. And not cutting this border fabric until you need it once your house is done is the smartest way to go here. So that's an important thing for you to consider. Another thing I want to tell you that I found helpful with this month 1 pattern is when I was testing it, and I was starting with this like last September, this first little section, diagram 1, is we have a piece of cabin fabric at the top, and then we have a background fabric here in the middle. The cabin is gray. You can see that this little picture is grayed out, and the lower part, which is large, is all background fabric, and that looks like this. Okay, but when we go to diagram 2, somehow they've switched the colorations. So the light fabrics here, the non-grade, the white is actually cabin fabric. And so I wrote that directly on my piece of paper, my pattern, so I would keep track of that. Up here, the cabin is gray. Here, the cabin is white, and the background goes into 2 gray sections. That can be confusing, and once you figure it out and have those information right there on your page, you'll know exactly how to make it. And then it tells you here how to make these little guys. These are those 2 sections. There's one over here and one over here. They should be, including seam allowances, 2.5 high by 2 inches wide. And then the middle section as well. So that's helpful. The middle section, I did the same thing here. On the chimney section, diagram 5, the background is white and the chimney is gray. And then it shows how you put these rows all together. And so that's the information about, for month 1, some of the tips for making the block. Okay, let me go back to my webcam. Okay, so the other bit of information that I just want to encourage you on how to be successful, according to, even with the things I've mentioned already, be sure you watch Sarah's show. It's about an hour long. It's great. It's full of a lot of great information. She shows you a way to make circles that I bet you have never seen before if you haven't made a Sarah Fielke pattern before. She uses aluminum foil, and it's brilliant. And I am eager to try it. I have not tried it yet. I made all of those 116 circles that are there with the Karen K. Buckley's Templar Perfect Circles set. That works just fine, but I am eager to try the aluminum foil tip. So watch her show now, and you'll see that. You'll have a head start on knowing what's coming in month 2 when we actually start to make the circles. Any videos that she provides, as I said, this month 1, there's 2 videos. Watch them both. I've watched all of the videos. We have 6 of them so far. And I've watched them all several times, and I pick up something each time. I've made the piece that you see there above me is through month 5 with the 4 corner stars that come out of month 6. So I've done all of that so far without benefit of any of Sarah's videos, and I sure wish I had them because there are things that I've learned in there that I am eager to try when I move on to the next step. Some of her applique techniques and using the Hera marker for her bias stems. It's not something I've done before, but I am doing it going forward now to give that a try. So it's really great. Read the pattern completely before you begin more than once. Make sure you understand what the steps are. Ask questions on the forum. If you have the questions, I'm sure someone else has them as well. And so put them in the Ask Questions Now section. From time to time, when you go to the website, go check the forum and see what questions are there, what answers have been provided, and things like that. I think you'll find them really helpful. We do encourage you to share your progress on the forum and on social media. At the end of each month's pattern are hashtags that we encourage you to use so that everybody can find the things that are being posted on the website. Sarah's very eager to see what everyone is doing, and we like to see it all too. So that's really helpful as well. The schedule for the next live is Friday, February the 3rd, and hopefully there's no issues to deal with there. But it's always something, so we'll just make it work. And that's the schedule. My blog post for month 2 will probably post right at the end of January, the Sunday there. My blog's going to come out once a week on Sunday, so that would be Sunday, January 23rd, along with some tips and using Sarah. I'm eager to try that aluminum foil trick. That looked pretty cool. We do start making the hollyhock stems and circles in month 2. So since you've stuck around here all the way to the end, I'm going to give you a secret tip, a big tip of something you can work on now. This month's work, month 1, didn't have a whole lot of time-consuming effort to it. So a lot of people, several have already posted, darn, now I have to wait till a whole nother month almost till I'm ready for the next step. But we start making the hollyhock circles, and you're going to need some bias stems. All of the bias stems in this entire quilt are 1/4 inch finished width. The pattern instructions for month 2 say that you will need about 90 inches of 1/4 inch bias. But you do not need 90 running inches. You will need 8 stems, 4 of them about 14 inches long, and 4 of them about 8.5 inches long. So if you are looking for something to do now and you want to get a head start on month 2, that's my big secret tip. And I've saved it till the end here, that you've hung around this long, and you can get started on making those stems. Once those are made, all 8 of those stems, you'll be ready when the pattern comes out, the very end of January, 1st of February, with the pattern instructions and how to put the pattern together, so you have a pattern that will show you how to where to put the stems and get started. And then she'll also start you making on the circles. We don't make all of the circles the first in month 2. We make quite a few of them, and then we'll finish up with the rest of them in month 3. So anyway, if there are questions, I will try to look back and see if there are any here, but the forum is a really great place. I check there frequently, several times a day, to see if there's questions I can answer for you. And that's a way that everyone can see the same question and answer. So until next time.